Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the show. And welcome to a Saturday stream on this weekend of weekends, man. Good God. I know I've been saying this for a while, but man, it has been a week, and good Lord, I am glad it is over. So welcome to the stream on a Saturday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever time it is, whatever day it is. I hope that the weekend is treating you well, and I hope that you're having a good one as always, and I hope that you guys are ready as ever for some hot mech on mech action. Man, we got some stuff coming up here. So, for those of you that didn't read the stream title, very, very likely, short of some sort of massive change in the status quo, today will very likely be the last day of this particular Mechwarrior 5 career. And the reason for that is myriad. There are a host of different reasons that I've been thinking about drawing this campaign to a close. The first is that on the settings that we're currently on, there's just not a lot of challenge, even with coyotes. And I had hoped that by bringing in coyotes mission pack, that would make the game a little bit more difficult, and it did for a little bit. But now that we're kind of starting to get a feel for how the missions work, it's becoming more of the same. And Mechwarrior 5 sadly just does that when you get to a certain point. When you're at the point in a campaign where you've got, 20, 30 assault mechs and you've got a bunch of equipment to run in them and everything else, like it's very, very hard to find a good challenge this late in a campaign. And that's the thing, is eventually every campaign is either going to burn out or fade away. And so for me, I figured rather than everybody sitting around and, getting bored because we're playing the 500th battleground mission with a King Crab Squad. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Crab Squad. I love Mad Squad. I love Hunch Squad. I love all of the shenanigans and the memes, but we can only do that for so long before people start to get bored, before I start to get bored. So I figured rather than do that, rather than run this career into the ground, I figured we would instead try to go out on a high note, because last stream we did start to see what Coyotes calls the end game missions. And the end game missions are extremely difficult. So most of the hardest missions that we have done so far have been at or around difficulty level 100. The end game missions are rated at difficulty level 250. You will be dealing with assault mechs. You will be dealing with all of the best equipment in the game. You will be dealing with extremely skilled pilots, and all of them using tier 4 and tier 5 equipment. So the thing about these missions is it is about the most difficult challenge that Coyotes or Mechwarrior 5 in general can throw at you. And so for me, I figured we would bet it all on black. We're gonna get our pilots as strong as we can get them. We're gonna get our mechs as strong as we can get them, and then we're gonna see what we do. And you know what? It's gonna be all or nothing, right? We're gonna bet it all on black. And either we're going to beat that mission and we're going to say that Untactical Operations went out on a high note, or we're going to get our asses kicked, and who knows what happens after that. Either way, like I said, we will very likely be bringing the campaign to a close today. Don't worry. We will do some other things. I do have some other stuff planned, because I don't expect that the Mechwarrior 5 will take the entire stream. I don't know exactly how long it is going to take. That will just depend on the game and how quickly we're able to put all the pieces in place to handle these in-game missions. But we do have other things planned today. Some of you may be aware of kind of the direction that I'm thinking of going in. Don't spoil it for those that are not on the Discord or that were not part of those discussions. But I do have some other things planned today. So with that being said, let us stop flapping our jaws. And let's get over to the game, shall we? Oh, you can see I was in the barracks. Don't worry, I will get to why I was in the barracks before too long. Don't worry. That will not be a mystery for the entire stream. And of course, I would be remiss. I have seen you already in the chat a couple of times, but I would be remiss if I did not say hello to Game Master Hub, the man, the myth, the legend himself. Good to see you. Glad to have you on a Saturday, and thanks for coming to hang out with us. Hopefully the weekend is treating you well. Again, for those of you that do not know Game Master Hub, one of the OGs in the channel, one of the original chatters from some of my very, very first streams. They've been around longer than just about anybody else, so be sure to give them some salutes, some hypes in the chat. Give them a warm welcome. Always glad to see Game Master Hub out there in the chat. So thanks for dropping by, Game Master. As always, we're happy to see you. Now, as for where we go from here, currently we are in a conflict zone. So for those of you that were not around during the last stream, we were basically just bullying Kurita, as you do. As you do. We were over here in Steiner Space in a conflict zone, just bullying Kurita. As you can see, we have the Known Universe mod, which expands the map and makes it a little more in-depth. But over in, I believe it was this conflict zone, we were starting to see some of the end-game missions, yeah. So the thing about end-game missions is it's essentially a modifier on existing mission types. So rather than, like, for example, we have an end-game rescue mission here, we have 2 more end-game rescue missions here, then you have, like, an end-game attack and defend mission. So, like, there are different types of end-game missions, and the real question becomes which type of mission we want to do. Now, obviously, a rescue contract is kind of meh. Attack and defend could be very, very difficult because we'll have to not only defend our own base, but also destroy 1 or more enemy bases, and also dealing with a bunch of other stuff in the midst of that. So there's definitely some other things that we can do here. We can shop around for we can shop around for the end game mission that we want to do. Wait, what? Why are the living quarters so plain? Because they are bare axe. Mechgato, I just want you to know right now, you can't see it, but I'm hovering my mouse cursor over potentially banning you. I'm just... No, don't gift him a sub for that. Don't gift him a sub for that. No, don't worry, Mechgato. I can appreciate a good dad joke. That wasn't a good dad joke, but it was a dad joke. I'll allow it. I'm not happy about it, but I'll allow it. Anyway. Urs, thank you for the gift sub to Mechgato. And Mechgato, nuclear launch detected. Mechgato, welcome to the cult of bad tactical decisions. And while I do not appreciate the dad joke, again, I'll allow it. I'll allow it. Yeah, Bailiff, smack his nuts. Hit him in the nuts with the billy club. At any rate, so we've got in-game missions popping up. Blech. You're not wrong, Urs. You are not wrong. At any rate, we have the in-game missions popping up. I don't know if that's what we're going to do right away. I mean, I would like to do a couple more missions, because the thing is, we have, and the reason I was looking, one of the reasons I was looking in the barracks, is we have some pilots that we've had for a little while but haven't quite gotten up to their maximum potential. You know, we have some folks that are very, very close. We even have, I think, at least one pilot that's maxed out. No, but we have a couple pilots that are very, very close to being maxed out. So I wanted to try to get a little bit more experience, but at the same time, we also need some time to put the mechs together. And here's where we get into the real meat and potatoes of this. So for those of you that are not part of the Discord, I I was kind of bouncing some ideas off of folks last time around. When we were in the Discord yesterday, I was kind of bouncing some mech designs off of folks to see what they thought about it, to kind of just spitball some ideas about what exactly we can do here in the end game to have the best chance of success. And I've put together a few different mech designs, so we're going to have to do the work to get those done. And in the meantime, I figured we would do some more missions in the interim, not only to get new skills for our pilots in some industrial zones, again, to give ourselves as much of an edge as possible, but also to give ourselves some time to actually get these mechs put together and get them ready for the end game mission. So I'll go ahead and I'll show you guys what I've got planned here. And again, we've got a lot of different stuff going on. But here's our loadout. Well, you know what? I tell you what, before we do that, let's not go spend an outrageous amount of money on these refits. Let's instead head to an industrial zone first. So here's an industrial zone. Let's just go ahead and head over here. I don't see any hero mechs, but that's okay. That's okay. You don't have to have hero mechs, and oh boy, I can hear Leaf Blower Coon coming already, you guys. I don't know if he's gonna come this way, but I could hear him in the vicinity. Yeah, I definitely think he's coming this way. God bless America. I mean, it's been a while since he made a cameo. It has been a while since he made a cameo, so I'm sorry, chat. I'm gonna have to mute up for a minute. Alright, chat. Sorry about that. I think he has moved on, but of course, you guys know Leaf Blower Coon. The second that I unmute, he's gonna turn around and come right back. I mean, he's very clingy that way. God damn, I hate being right all the time too. I think he's coming back, but I'm gonna chance it. I'm gonna chance it. But at any rate, as you can clearly see, we've got a lot of work to do. We did have some AMS in the shop, so I went ahead and bought them. It's a little bit late because I hadn't thought about incorporating AMS into any of the designs that we're gonna do. But I may make some modifications. So first and foremost, this is the King Crab. So for those of you that don't know, we've kind of already locked in my end game lance as far as what I want to take into battle for the final mission. And Thanosi resubscribing for 10 months, saying glad I made it. Well, I'm glad you made it too, Thanosi. Always glad to see you. Thanks for joining us, and hopefully the weekend is treating you well. And thank you for the 10 months of continued support. So yeah, again, 10 months. 10 months already. Guys, 10 months since we made affiliate, and that is all y'all. You guys did that, so thank you. And again, Thanosi, thank you for the 10 months of continued support. But so I have basically laid out the end game lance that I want to run. And I already have the loadout saved, but I figured that I would at least explain what it is that we're doing here, so that you guys can have some inkling of what my plan is. So this is the Hero King Crab. It has a little bit over, or pretty close to 700 armor because of the King Crab armor bonus. We also have the Carapace bonus, which is upgrades, massive upgrades, to Ultra Autocannons. So instead of the Burst Fire AC5s that we've been using, I've instead decided to just cram 4 Ultra AC5s into this thing. Essentially, I am hyper-specializing this mech to focus entirely on the bonuses that it gets. So these Ultra Autocannons will be getting bonuses to the spread, to the projectile speed, to the cooldown, the optimal range, and the max range. Plus, they're going to be generating even less heat than usual. So, as much as I would love to put in a bunch of tier 5 Ultra AC5s, we don't actually have that much. So I had to go with what we have. We only have 2 tier 5s, and then we got a couple lower tiers. Yeah, in YAML, the Ultra AC5s do run a little bit different, and that's okay. That is okay. Probably what I'm planning to do is I'm gonna have the tier 5s on one weapon group, and then I'll probably have the Ultra ACs, the lower tiers, on a different weapon group, just so that I have one that fires a little bit faster. But just to maximize, again, I went with the sniper sensors to give us extra range. I went with the advanced ballistic modifier, which also just reduces the spread distance, and increases the projectile speed of ballistics in general. So we already have the carapace bonus. Now we're also getting even more spread reduction and cooldown reduction from the ballistic computer. And then, on top of that, I've also put weapon compensators in the arms to further reduce the spread and the weapon jam chance on these autocannons. So where you may have seen bad tactical decisions, the thing that we're kind of infamous for, I have instead done the other thing that I'm good at, which is statistics and analytics. And I have done absolutely everything that I can to maximize the potential DPS that this King Crab can put out. And just based on watching not only Barradool, but also a few other folks that were playing some of these endgame missions, I have a feeling we're going to need it. We're definitely going to need it. But the plan with this particular design was to give myself extremely accurate and extremely deadly firepower. So we will see how effective it is. But we're definitely, yeah, I know, Sierra, me making a good tactical decision is tantamount to heresy. But you know what? Every once in a while, you know, like I've said before, a bird clock is right twice a day. Every once in a while, I get it right on accident. So this is gonna be the end-all be-all, or at least that's the plan. And it's gonna be very expensive, and that's okay. I expect that. As you can see, we got double bins of ammo in the feet. Sadly, well, you know what? Now that I think about it, we do actually have some other double ammo bins. So instead of these boys, I could throw in 2 more double bins. And the reason that we use double bins, so for those of you that don't know how YAML handles double bins, the regular bin for the Ultra AC5 has 80 rounds. The double bin has 200 rounds. So technically, we're getting an additional 20 rounds per ton of ammunition. So that's good. That's good. With Ultra AC5s, and those being the only weapon systems in this mech, we need as much ammo as we can get. So I'm actually going to swap those out for the double bins, and then I'll go ahead and start the work. Actually, you know what? I'm trying to think. Because I was doing the math, and I don't remember. Hold on, chat. I gotta go check the Discord. I know, I apologize. But the reason that I may not use the double bins is because I might have been saving some of the double bins for the atlases. I don't remember. No, that's right. The atlases I was gonna use the LBXs on. So never mind. So yeah, we're going to use the double bins for Ultra AC5, but that's going to bring us up to 800 total rounds. I've also put in the case too. We only had a couple of them, but I put them in here to mostly protect from ammo explosions. I mean, as much as I would love to put the ammo in the feet, we don't have any more room in the feet. We also don't have any room in the arms. So the only place I can put this additional ammo is in the side torsos, and case 2 works a little bit differently from regular case. So normal case stops damage from moving to other components when an explosion goes off. Case 2, as you can see, what it does instead is it reduces the internal damage to only 2 points of damage. That may not be enough to save the side torso, depending on how much damage it's taken, but since the XL engine coring the mech depends on the side torso being destroyed, with case 2, if we can prevent the side torso from blowing up, then we could potentially prevent ourselves from losing the mech. Now, of course, that all assumes that I'm going to get shot, which of course I'm definitely not. But, you know, this just, like, it's a safety blanket. It's a safety blanket. But I'm going to go ahead and start the work on that. So that's the King Crab. That's the mech that I will be using during this endgame mission. So we also, I fully intend to take out the atlases as well. And one of them is going to be this RS atlas that we picked up on the last stream. The plan was to potentially get Steiner's... I can words, Chad. We were gonna try to get a Steiner scout squad going, but in the interests of not boring everyone, I figured we would just go for the end game instead. So here's our in-game RS Atlas, and the Atlases are gonna be mostly the same. There's a little bit different stuff here, and again, as you can see, highest tier weaponry that we can put in these. But basically, I'm putting ERPPCs in the arms. I'm giving them some medium pulse lasers as well. I'm also putting modular armor on the arms to try to keep those from blowing up as quickly as possible. We've also got some Inferno SRMs for the close range, and of course, tier 5 LBX-10s. Now, there was some discussion about using solid versus cluster. I would prefer that the AI use cluster, but thankfully with YAML, we can swap in between the different ammo types in real time. So even though it says it's a slug, we can switch it to cluster. So what I'm going to try to do is go over, when we start the mission, I will swap to this mech and switch it from slug to cluster, and hopefully that will stay the way it is. Yeah, and the ERPPCs here are definitely going to make it very, very hot, and I'm aware of that. So I will definitely be doing some custom weapon groups on these mechs so that they don't they don't basically just sit there completely afraid to fire the entire mission. So I will definitely be messing with the weapon groups. But this is going to be largely the design that we go with for the Atlases. We're going to take 3 Atlases, and they're all going to be this design or something very similar. So this is going to be very expensive because not only are we doing all of this work, we're also having to rebuild this mech. So 4.1 million is a little bit expensive, but that's to be expected. And again, that's why we came to an industrial zone. Because that 4.1 probably would have turned into close to 10 million if we were still trying to do it in a conflict zone. The crab is going to crustacean the opposition. You know what? I'm gonna let that one slide, McGatto, because it's a crab joke, and I can appreciate a crab joke. Now, as for the 7D Atlases, I've got 2 different plans for these. I have 2 different plans for these. So the first one is pretty much just the same design. The only difference is, because of the way that the hard points for energy weapons are set up, I took the medium pulse lasers out of the arms and put them in the center torso instead. But otherwise, it's the same weapons, it's the same layout for this one. Again, we're putting in double bins as much as we can. We've got double heat sinks and all that. Again, trying to maximize potential. So, we'll go ahead and do this. Not much different on this one. And then there's the other 7D Atlas. If the game will load. There we go. And here's the other one. And the only real difference between this and the LBX versions is, instead of the LBX-10s, we're using a tier 5 Gauss rifle. Because the Gauss is heavier, I had to drop the medium pulse lasers, so it's not going to have as much up-close damage. But with that being said, the Gauss will give us a lot more long-range firepower, because I wanted to make sure, as much as possible anyway, that we had a good mix of both close range and long-range firepower, so that we're not, gimping ourselves and saying, oh no, I can't shoot down VTOLs, or oh no, they got in close, so now I don't have anything to do. So, yeah? Like, is it an instant ban here to say that I plan on buying clans? No, absolutely not, soldier. So, words are hard, chat. No, Sulrakar, it is not an instant ban. I know that there are many folks in the Mechwarrior and Battletech community that do not like Mechwarrior 5 mercenaries and do not like Mechwarrior 5 clans. This is not that kind of community. We definitely have some folks in the community that are not fond of those games, but at the same time, I enjoy it. I've been having fun with mercenaries. I am cautiously optimistic about clans. It's not going to be a day one buy for me. I definitely want to see what they change, but I'm willing to give it a chance because from what I've seen of the preview footage, it looks like they're taking it in the right direction. So, again, for me, it's a wait and see. It's not going to be a day one buy. I'm not going to pre-order because you should never pre-order games. But I will definitely be keeping my eye on it to see how it ends up. Yeah, that's the other thing, Serini. Basically, in the current games industry, in the current game market, if you're buying any kind of AAA product, it's usually better to wait at least 3 months, or potentially more, for them to launch the game, let the early players be their unpaid beta testers, and then fix all the stuff that they couldn't fix before launch. So, we'll see. We'll see. Again, I will probably play it. I just don't think we're going to play it as soon as it releases. And Mechgato with 100 Bezos bucks saying, wow, love the paint job on the Atlas. Excellent compliment to the traditional skull face. I agree. My only disappointment with the paint schemes in this game is that you can't, like, what I would love to do is to paint each mech by the part. Right? So, like, let me put the skull motif on the head of the Atlas, but then let me do some other goofy stuff with the arms and legs. Like, let me put different paint jobs on each part of the mech. That would be cool. It'd be completely ridiculous and totally unnecessary. But, what can I say? I like to personalize my mechs. Also want to know if I can actually play Zellbringen, but I'm pretty sure it will be impossible. You never know. Never's a long time. Never's a long time. But anyway, so like I said, this is the other Atlas that we're putting together. Again, just in the interest of trying to keep our ranges as evened out as possible, I went ahead and put a tier 5 Gauss in this. How good it ends up being is going to depend entirely on the pilot we put in it, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm going to go ahead and start the work on this thing as well. We'll get all 3 of the Atlases working. In addition to that, for the person that pointed out that I forgot to put in the work order for the crab, you are 100% correct, so let me make sure that I go ahead and do that. There we go. And there you have it. So, we have our in-game lance, or I'm sorry, our end-game lance, largely being put together. So at this point, the only thing left to do is to get ourselves into some trouble while we do the work on those mechs. And again, I don't know how long that's going to take, but I will take absolutely every opportunity to bully Kurita some more before we finally call this campaign complete. So let's see what we've got. We've got a demolition contract, Independence versus Kurita. That'll work. That works for me. Oh, while we're here, chat, I forgot. Let me look at the pilots. And let's see, if anybody has any open skill slots, I want to go ahead and fill those skill slots up. But I don't think anybody does.
Meet you in the ready room.
Okay. So everybody has full good quirks and no bad quirks, which is good. This is good. Be cool if he could really put one of those black and white disruptive zigzag patterns on a mech. I mean, you kinda can. The only problem is it doesn't actually do anything. How's the stream been so far? Well, Brayster, we're just getting started. We're kind of in the end game here. I've basically just been showing chat the mech designs that I put together for the end game, and then we're gonna get ourselves into a little bit of trouble while we wait for that work to get finished. So we're just getting started. We're about to get into probably the first mission of the day. Have you done the Bounty Hunters mission chain? A little bit. We haven't like gotten into it. We haven't made it very far, but we've definitely done that. You can do that for them. They don't have quirk slots. You know, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, we have time.
You pay me, I fight for you.
We have time. We have money.
Let's get a move on.
Oh shit, I didn't realize that Urs did have a negative trait. Well, we'll have to get rid of that.
Glad to join the company, Commander.
You're ready to stop wasting my time?
But we can add an additional trait slot to everybody. I'm not gonna max everyone out.
Affirmative, Commander. I'll be in the hangar for pre-drop checklists.
But since we're gonna have to spend some time anyway, it just makes sense to go ahead and get them some additional slots. That's what she said.
Glad to join the company, Commander.
So we'll go ahead and we'll add the extra slots to our pilots.
Bring them the word. My history is my business. Keep it like that, and we have.
You pay me, I fight for you. Deal?
And okay, well, it looks like Jonah is maxed out at 5. So there we go. It has indeed been a while, Tribal Typhoon, but good to see you. Glad to have you. And thank you for the resubscription for 8 months, Tribal Typhoon. No message other than what you said in the chat. But again, thank you for joining us. Hopefully the weekend is treating you well. And thank you for the 8 months of continuous support. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I thank you for your time. So there we go. We got some training started. That's probably going to interfere with our ability to do any missions. But you know, it is what it is. Let's head over here. We're gonna head over here and do this one mission. And then I think just the time that it's gonna, I didn't realize it when I did it, but the amount of time that it's gonna take for our pilots to get trained up on the new slots that I just gave them is pretty much gonna take more time than the actual rebuilds of the mechs. If the War Thunder is keeping you hostage, blink 4 times in rapid succession. Yeah. Yeah, War Thunder, it do be like that sometimes. It do be like that sometimes. Alright, let's have a look at the contracts. We gotta bully Kirito one more time before the end game. I mean, I guess we can take salvage shares. It doesn't really matter at this point in the campaign. It really doesn't.
The sensors are malfunctioning due to the weather, and your visibility on this
So
mission will be
let's
compromised as
drop
well.
all this. It's gonna be kind of a last hurrah for some of the mechs that we're not gonna be taking as well. So that's another thing to think about. So let's see. What are some mechs that we want to give one more ride? I mean, I think we gotta take the Awesome out one more time. I mean, obviously we gotta take the Mjolnir out one more time. Is this Fast Annie? No, this is not Fast Annie. This is the other Annihilator that we picked up. Let's see. Rest of Crab Squad. Well, I mean, Crab Squad is technically getting their last ride via the hero mech. But I'm not against taking another King Crab. Let's see, what else? I mean, I feel like we have to take out the Fast Annie, right? We have to. And then what else? We can do the Highlander, but you know what? I think we will take out one. I think we'll take out one of the King Crabs on this one too. Alright, so. Let's take... Actually, you know what? We could do the Corsair instead. So we got the AC-2 Burst Fire, we got the Gauss Crab, and then we got the AC-20 Crab. I think we take Gauss Crab. And then we'll put in Fast Annie, which I have no earthly idea how the compute... Like, I don't know if Fast Annie is even gonna work with the AI running it. It may not work. So what's next after Mechwarrior 5? Well, that's a secret. You gotta stick around to find out, Typhoon. I do have a plan, I promise. We're not just gonna play the game for a couple hours and then end the stream. But I promise We have a plan. We have a plan. Now, here's another thing. Here's another thing. Crazy idea, chat. Crazy idea. We can bring the commander, but not play as the commander. Or, alternately, maybe we don't take the awesome. What do you think, Chad? What do you think? Do we take the awesome? Or do we put in something heavier? Annihilator Fortune reminds me of an angry bird. Correct. Think of it like a, like a goose, basically. It is very, very angry right now. And Blast Strike rolling into the chat on a Saturday. Good to see you. Glad to have you, Blast Strike, and welcome back to the stream. Hopefully the weekend is treating you well. What's the heavier option? I don't know. That's a good question. What do we have in the hangar? I mean, again, we could go with the Corsair, right? Throw in the Corsair. Give it one last ride before the end of the campaign. It's not a bad mech. We only ever took it out like once or twice. How am I doing, Blast Strike? I'm not doing too bad. I'm not doing too bad. I'm still on this side of the dirt. The world's still spinning. I'm still here to see it. So, it could always be worse. Let's see, what else do we have? We also have other king crabs that we could take in. We could take in the Dragon Slayer Victor. We could take out this Mauler that we've literally never used. Like, we got this as a reward for the Dragon's Gambit campaign. I kept meaning to pull it out of storage and do something with it, but we never did. Let's see, what else do we have in cold storage? I mean, the only other thing that I would think about taking on a mission this hard would probably be, like, maybe one of the Battle Masters? Maybe the Highlander? Most of the rest of these mechs are not really gonna cut it. I think, because somebody said this a minute ago in the chat, and I am inclined to agree, which is, we don't know how the computer handles mask and superchargers. I'm interested to find out, so I'm going to give the AI the fast Annie. And we're going to find out the hard way. We're going to find out the hard way. How the AI handles that sort of thing. Now, let me see. We do need to do some repair work on the awesome. That's something that I never did get around to doing. Oh, hold on, Jet. Sorry about that. Had a sneeze. Had a sneeze. All right. Wait. Hold up. Why does this say under ton? Did I forget to do something to put this thing back together? Let me go to loadout and have a look. Clans is the same game, it's a standalone DLC. Yeah, and that's the best way to describe it. Like, Clans is not a brand new game, necessarily. It's an improvement on what already exists. It's using the same engine, it's just, something a little different. You see, where is the medium short burst laser? There we go. And then, do we have any higher tier PPCXs? We do. We absolutely do. I mean, if this is gonna be the last ride of the awesome, I want to make sure we give it the biggest booms that we possibly can. I'm not gonna lie, I'm also very tempted to take out this medium pulse laser, this X-pulse. Like, fuck it. Again, last ride. Last ride. Quiz like Mechwarrior 4 Mercs and Black Knight, completely standalone expansions. Yeah. Ray, do you have Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon? I do not. Sadly, during that point in my life, I was not playing games a whole lot because I had some other stuff going on. So I never really did play Far Cry 3. I have watched playthroughs of it, though. Like, I am aware of it. But I have never personally played Far Cry 3 or Blood Dragon. Let's see. Alright, there we go. Again, conflict zone penalty. It's fine. Again, we're in the end game now. It's fine. We didn't make 100 million C-bills so I could save it all. If you give me your Steam, I'm gonna give you Blood Dragon. That's fine, Erst. You don't have to worry about it. Because the thing about it is, like, while I appreciate it, the problem I'm gonna have is finding time to play it. I know I've said this before. I don't actually have a lot of game time these days. And I probably spend more time on these streams playing games with y'all than I do playing anything else over the course of a weekend. Like Monday through Friday, I get maybe 2 or 3 hours of game time. So the issue with that is I would, like, when would I play it is the question. Could play it on stream. That's true. I could play it on stream. I will consider it. I will consider it. But for right now, we got bigger fish to fry. And that big fish is, of course, going to be the last mission before the last mission. So, let's see. We got Ansi, we got Northman. You know what? Let's put Ansi into the King Crab here. And then, do we have anybody? Do we have anybody? Actually, you know what? I guess we'll have to put Ansi in the Annihilator because they have some affinity for it. I will put Northman in the Crab instead. There we go. There we go. And of course, everybody's training, so that's gonna affect a lot of things. But that's okay. Let's make it hot, chat. Let's wait 6 months to start this mission. Don't worry, everybody's getting paid during that entire idle period. And yeah, there we go. All of our in-game mechs are also rebuilt. So after this mission is complete, we should be able to get into the end game. So let's give it a shot. As always, chat, let's make it hot.
Attention. Prepare for battle mech departure.
I'm just saying,
Warning. Hangar doors opening.
this awesome has been good to me.
Reactor
She has
online.
been a faithful steed.
Online. Weapons online. All systems nominal.
Don't get too excited about 6 months leave, Private Kaze, because
Be sure to watch your fire around any pipes or tanks.
until you
There's
actually
the potential
see,
for being explosive.
like, this planet doesn't look like a very fun planet. Oh. And Brianna's already taking shots at something. What are we taking shots at? Just like a Mackie that you put ungodly amounts of money into. This is true. This is true. I mean, does YAML add a Mackie? Because I would be down for that. I have no idea where the shooting is. Oh, hello. What the hell is this? Alright, Chad. What the hell is going on with this X-Pulse? What am I doing wrong? How am I supposed to use this X-Pulse? Because I've... That's what X-Pulse does? Well, see, I figured there were fire modes. Let me see. Alright, let me check. Do we have options? Controls? Is there like a special button, or is this gonna be the same as, it's gonna be like this? Oh, so did it reset? It reset my shit. Why did you reset my shit? Don't reset my shit. Alright, let's see. Let's see. So if I do that... That doesn't... Yeah, it doesn't really seem to make a difference. Like, there's no marking for it actually changing anything.
There's your target objective, Commander. Why don't you go over and introduce yourself?
Demolish the base. Don't mind if I do. I hope you guys don't like hearing. Oh, hi, Mark. What is this? A dragon, eh? Come here, dragon. Be rendered into the past tense. Oh, we got like a whole lance showing up all of a sudden. They actually brought a K2 catapult as well? Look at these guys. Yeah, I do not like X-Pulse. I don't like it. Don't tempt me, Mechgato. Do not tempt me, cause I'll do it. Alright, let's try. First of all, let's get the aerospace in here. Second of all, let's try. So we get... Yeah, they don't fire fast enough. They don't fire fast enough. The cooldown keeps me from doing it. But that's okay. We got one more parking lot to make. One more set of inspections to perform. So let's make sure we do it right, chat. Let's make sure we do it right. Oh, they're bringing in a dropship with some more friends. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Wangin. The X-Pulses in, like, for example, BTA are actually pretty damn good. In Mechwarrior 5, not so much. Or at least not based on the performance that I'm seeing here. On the plus side, this is actually pretty handy for very quickly destroying all of this infrastructure. Yeah, it's a good war crimes laser, I guess. It may not be useful for much else, but you know, bring the right tool for the job. Alright. We're just about there. We're just about there. Damn it. My laser boobs are not able to elevate that high. Why does it sound like somebody's getting punched? Are you over here punching?
Facility's gone cold.
There we go.
All ignition
There
off.
we go.
No one's going to be able to utilize this complex for quite a bit. Time to get out of here, Commander.
Sounds like a plan, Rihanna. Which direction do I go to do that? Where is the extract? Oh, there's the extract. Got it. Got it.
Enemy mech down.
That double gauss crab though, that's was putting in some work there. Property insurance must be astronomical. I mean, again, that is the price you have to pay when you don't get your inspections done and when your buildings are not up to code. You know, it's not my fault. If they had just, you know, kept up with the codes and made sure that everything was good and of course made sure to pay off their local OSHA inspector, I mean, pay their yearly OSHA dues, then everything would have been fine. But you know, I can't help it. It's just sometimes these things happen. You know, I don't write the rules, Chet. I don't write the rules.
Go critical.
Yeah, watching the AI in the Fast Annie is actually pretty funny. But that's good though. It answers the question, does the computer use the superchargers properly? And the answer is yes, absolutely.
Detecting unidentified mechs in the area. Moving in to investigate.
Great showing, Commander.
How can one make a bottleneck-proof building? I don't know. See, Typhoon, you're missing the point. The point is not to make a bottleneck-proof building. The point is to pay your fucking protection. I'm sorry, pay your fees. That's how you stop bottlenecks from coming through your buildings. Like, if you don't want mechs walking through your buildings and blowing everything up, all you gotta do is pay. It's easy. It's easy. Right. It's like the Comstar motto, pay your phone bills, fucko. Alright, here we go. Let's see what we got for salvage. Not gonna be a whole lot here that I'm terribly interested in, so let's just we'll just take some random stuff. It doesn't really matter at this point. Again, we're basically at the end game here, although to be fair, hold on a second. Where's the thing that lets me go? There's a button here that lets me go back. Right? Chat. That lets me go back. Anyway, what I noticed and what I wanted to highlight for you guys was the double Gauss crab did not take any damage. It took 0 damage. That's impressive. But anyway, so let's double check, make sure. Alright, so our 3 Atlases and the King Crab Carapace, all of them set up for the end game, are now rebuilt and ready to go. So the question becomes, what end-game mission are we going to take? There's an end-game duel. Let's see. There is an end-game battleground. So let's see. The end-game duel is Merrick versus Independence. The battleground is Rasselhaig versus Independence. People apparently hating on Independence today. What else do we got in this vicinity? Anything else that we can see? It does not look like we have any other in-game missions in our immediate vicinity. Alright, So, chat. I will put it to a vote. So, let me get a new poll up for you. Let me see. We can do the duel, if I could spell duel correctly. We could do the battleground. Or we can go shopping around. This is going to be a 1-minute poll, chat, so get ready. You're not going to have a whole lot of time, but I do want to give you guys a say. So, the options are either we go with the in-game duel that we currently have available, we go with the in-game battleground that we currently have available, or we go shopping. Essentially, go looking around elsewhere for an in-game mission of a different type. So, poll is up. If you don't see it, refresh your stream. You should see the box at the very top of the chat box. Go ahead and get your votes in now. Let me know what you guys want to do. And we will have a look at it and figure it out. So y'all put in your votes. Remember, democracy only works if you engage with it. So make sure to get your votes in. And I apologize, chat. I'm currently on the phone. Yeah. And crew card rolling in for a 7th month, saying woot for 7 months. Well, thank you, crew card, for the 7 months of continued support, and welcome to the stream on a Saturday. As always, good to see you, glad to have you. And hopefully the weekend is treating you well. And let's see, the people have spoken, and you guys have decided that we are going to go shopping. So we're going to go looking for a different mission type rather than the ones that we currently have available. Let's see. Mr. Oppenheimer says, do you have any FPS drops, memory leaks after installing mods? I find after a few missions I go from 200 FPS to 50 FPS. Restart the game, I'm good to go. I don't have that particular set of concerns, but I have noticed frame drops after installing mods, yes. It also depends on which mods you're installing. So, you know, if you have, for example, YAML is one that causes a lot of performance drops. Coyotes, and especially Von Biomes. If you have Von Biomes installed, that can also tank your performance. So, like, a lot of those mods are very, very good, but they do absolutely have an effect on your performance. So for me, one of the things that I did to help with that is to get some of the Xenopax optimization mods. The texture optimization and the mesh optimization mods make a huge difference in terms of performance, because it optimizes the textures and the meshes. Imagine that. But that can help with the performance. It's definitely not going to get you back up to 200 frames per second, but it will help improve with some of that frame lag that you're seeing. The other thing that you can do is, one, optimize your load order, because if you have mods that are conflicting and they're loading in a weird order, that can also cause issues. And then the other thing is just turn some of the mods up. And I know not everybody likes to hear that, but if you're seeing significant drops in your frame rates to the point where you're not happy with the performance that you're getting, you might want to turn off some mods, unfortunately. But anyway, so we're going to go shopping for an in-game mission. Let's do that. Let us do that. We got a conflict zone over here near Davian space, so let us head to this industrial zone and we'll see what kind of missions we run into over here. I'm gonna have to reload a save every 3 or so drops, otherwise my frame rate tanks. I don't have that problem. Again, like I said, my performance issues are a little bit different, and I think that's got to do with, you know, potentially hardware and other things like that. It also obviously has to do with whatever mod packs you're running. So, you know, it's a different beast for everybody, but my issues have been a lot of frame drops in the loading screens, but I'm also not running on max settings either. And that's mostly for the stream. Because what I don't want to do, like, I like games to look good, but I also like them to run at a decent pace. So for the games that I stream, at least, I tend to reduce some of the graphics and stuff just to make the game run a little better for you guys. Load times can still be long even if you have a number of mods turned off, so in some cases it's better to remove them from the mod folder. Yeah, and that's, so if you don't know, the way that Mechwarrior 5 loads its mods, it loads all the mods into memory when you start the game, even if they're not enabled. And I know that sounds weird because it makes you reload, like it makes you restart the game every time you change the mod load order, but it loads the fucking mods regardless. So if you have big mods like YAML, like Von Biomes, it's still loading those resources even if you don't have those mods turned on. So it not displaying those resources can help you get some performance back. But for, again, and Von Biomes, I hate to pick on Von Biomes because it's a great mod, but it's also a huge mod, and it is a performance killer. If you have Von Biomes in your mods folder, you absolutely need to move it out of the mods folder in order to get all of that performance back. Now, again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't use Von Biomes. Your specific case is going to depend on you. But there, right, and there you go. There are other things that can help you with that. Like, that's the thing with modding, and sorry, I'm going to go off on a tangent here about modding. The thing about modding is you're taking a lot of risk. And the problem, and the reasons you see so many mod makers, and I'm gonna pick on the rogue tech devs again because I love to pick on them because they're so salty all the time. But the rogue tech devs are kind of infamous for their extremely prickly and abrasive nature with the community, especially when it comes to performance and bugs and things like that. And the reason for that, and I can promise you, Rogue Tech is kind of an extreme example of treating your community badly, but many mod makers have that same mentality because you have folks that want to do all the cool stuff that mods do, but don't understand how modding works, don't want to learn how to mod properly, then do some stuff half-assed, don't follow directions, screw something up, or put in mods that conflict without understanding why they conflict, and then go and blame the mod author for why that shit's not working. And for a great example of the proper approach to that, go back a couple of streams to when we were having hard crashes, and my first instinct, because I had just added coyotes, my first instinct was to blame coyotes. Hey, this is the new thing that I just added. This is clearly causing the problem. But then once we actually started getting into it and doing some troubleshooting and digging into it, it became more apparent that it wasn't actually coyotes, or if it wasn't 100% the fault of coyotes. And since we figured that out, I've had 0 hard crashes since. At the end of the day, if you take just a little bit of time and try to understand the mods, try to understand how they work, what they modify, and actually provide useful feedback to mod authors, you will find that they are much more receptive and much more helpful. As opposed to just, hey, I did this thing and it gave me this error and your mod sucks and it doesn't work, you suck, I hate you. That's not helping anybody. Least of all the person that spent their own time and energy to make the mod that you got for free. But anyway. EWYW rolled into the chat on a Saturday saying, hey all visiting family, so can't stay. Have a good one. Well, good to see you, EW, and thank you for the 5 gifted subs, which you did not have to do. Go spend time with your family. Get off of Twitch. The VOD will be here whenever you get done, whenever you get finished visiting with the family and you've got some time for yourself. So get the fuck out of here. Go spend some time with your family, and I hope you have a good time. In the meantime, once again, thank you for dropping by. Thank you for the gift subs, and I hope you have an outstanding rest of your weekend. I work in IT. Learning not to blame the first thing that comes to mind is really hard for people to do. Oh, I get it. I get it. Even I sometimes jump to conclusions after 15 years. Yeah, and that's my point, troubleshooter, is like, my first instinct was to blame the new thing. Even though logically I know in my head that's probably not what it is, or even if it is, it's probably a combination of other things. But yeah, the first instinct, your brain is, the very first instinct is, this is the thing that changed, therefore this is the thing at fault. And that's the whole point of troubleshooting. It is narrowing it down, figuring out what it actually is instead of just blaming the first thing that comes to mind. A crew card with 100 Bezos bucks says, may the shopping go well. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I hope we find some good missions. We will see. Von Bombs has a lot of clutter. Looks pretty, but it's a skippable mod. Yeah. If performance is an issue for you with Mechwarrior 5, or if you're having performance issues after modding your game, Von Biomes, for me at least, is the first to go. And as I said before, as much as I like the way Von Biomes looks, that's the reason I didn't download it, because it is a performance hog. It makes the game look beautiful compared to default Mechwarrior 5, but that comes at a price. And if it's not a price that you can pay in terms of your system performance, then sadly that would be the first one that I skip out on. And I see you, Sierra. Hydration income. Alright. So we were gonna go shopping. Let's go shopping.